the courthouse. That person has a job like every other person, and that doesn't include being at the 1-hour meter. That person needs to be in a parking garage. They're working for a commercial entity who pays them to do business. They need to go buy some parking vouchers and go find a legitimate parking space. The city doesn't subsidize that. So we've asked every chief of police, I guess, back before even Pasteur, where do these passes come from? Who knows? They've been doing it since 1928. But the law doesn't permit it. We see every pass that's on the street in the city of New Haven today is backed up by an ordinance. Every state rep pass and aldermanic pass and city inspector passes are all backed by an ordinance that requires those passes. Press passes do not exist. So that's the problem. And the officers have been instructed since the beginning of time to just disregard them and write the tickets. The handout from the police department said that if you got a ticket that was caused by some emergency related to your job, you were to give it to your editor. If your editor agreed, your editor was to give it to the chief of police through his staff. If the chief of police agreed, he was to request traffic and parking to void it if they wanted to. And sometimes they did and sometimes they didn't. And that's been that way forever. And so it's not really a disconnect. It's just like many other things in government. That's all.
Well, there appears to be a judgment call in applying the rules, who has to abide by the rule, and
that's the heart of the problem.
To get around
that's the heart of the problem, because the city runs a macro operation, and you individually have a micro problem. So if there's not a single rule for everybody, such as everybody has to pay and everybody has to stay at a bus stops, period. Doesn't matter what you were doing on your assignment. You shouldn't have been in any of those places. That's easier than saying, well, the register's a lot more important than Paul Bass, so we're going to charge Paul Bass, but we're not going to charge Bill.
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. But